welcome to another episode of It's Black Owned with myself, Alison. Today I'm joined by the founder of Bidhaar, an amazing afro-urban concept store in the heart of Peckham, and it's created by the one and only Mariam Tijani.
Hello!
Hey, how are you doing today?
I'm well, thank you.
Good. So starting Bidhaar,
Yeah.
talk to me about that.
Oh, girl. Entrepreneurship is not for the faint-hearted. I will tell you that for free. So I was training to become an accountant ever since I was a child. When people say, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be an accountant.
Where did you get that from? Did that come from you or your parents?
It came from me, actually, because, my mom had a pharmacy, a supermarket, and a clinic. So I grew up in that business, and dad has a furniture studio. So if I wasn't in dad's furniture studio, I was in mom's business, right? So I started counting crazy money from when I was young. So at the end of, the store closing, when we get to the house, mom makes me count all this money. And I'm like, I like money. so she's like, I want to be an accountant. I never said banker, but I said, I want to be an accountant because I really enjoyed it. But then growing up, I was good in math, but training to become an accountant, I didn't enjoy it. It blew me out of my mind. I'm a creative. Accounting does not give you any creative freedom. It is very much static. That's the formula. That's the principle. There's no room for there's no room. None. So I was like, you know what? I don't want to do this. I'm an entrepreneur. I had interest in interior design, fashion design, food. I'm also a philanthropist at art. Like anytime I'm thinking of a business idea, I'm always thinking about how can I give back?
Nice.
How is this making the world a better place? So I was like, you know what? I want to be a creative entrepreneur because I can control that. But when I think about it, I'm like, you know what? I don't want to be a broke fashion designer. Like I was kind of fed up of seeing a lot of like starving artists. So for me, it's like, if you're a talented person, why should you be starving? Like, why can't you monetize your creativity? So for me, it was like, I don't want to study fashion design because creativity is innate to me. I have it naturally. I want to study how to run any successful business. Because once you learn that, the principles are the same for anywhere you go. So I was like, you know what? I quit my accounting. I didn't finish. I was like, because if I finish, my parents are going to make me go chartered. I was like, F this.
ACCA and that.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not going to do this. So I quit, moved out of Northampton, moved to London. I was literally like homeless for like 2 years, sofa surfing, trying to just figure out who I was and what I liked. And I was used to having a lot of money as a teenager. Like I had like 3 jobs. Like money was never my problem. And I'm like, let me see what it's like to be a real teenager or be a real young person for a while. And those struggles really inspired me to say, actually, I do want to go to uni, but I just don't want to be an accountant.
Right.
So went to study business management, and anytime I had the chance to pick a coursework, I would always pick something around Africa or the Black community, or something around youth entrepreneurship, like something that just helped my community or my age group. That was something I was very passionate about. So from there, I was working on launching my afro-urban clothing brand at the time. And then I was also working on launching e-commerce for, African brands. It was called Afrocentric London, which is actually now Bidhaar.
Afrocentric?
London.
Sounds like the hairband as well. Is it Afrocentrics? That's the hairband, isn't it?
So mine was meant to be called Afrocentric with a QUE.
Oh, right. Okay.
London. And so it's kind of evolved into what Bidhaar is today. And my entrepreneurship journey went from me trying to, launch the clothing brand to going into wanting to launch a crowdfunding platform, pitch it Africa, move back to Nigeria. And I think Nigeria was my biggest shift. I was super inspired.
So you mean moving back to Nigeria?
Moving back to Nigeria.
And when did you move back to Nigeria?
2015 to 2017.
So you was roughly how old?
Because
you said you came here when you were 13. So
yes, I was 24 at the time.
Right.
25 actually. Yeah, I think I was 25 at the time.
And did you do holidays back and forth to Nigeria, or was it?
I went in 2007, which was my number one eye-opening opportunity of I want to bring Africa to the world. Then I went back in 2013 for my research for my undergraduate. And then in 2015, my sister was moving back. And then I was like, it's time.
So just to pause you there, just because I've never been to Nigeria.
Yes.
And through you, I want to understand what was it like moving back? What was it that made you feel so inspired?
I think that for me, a lot of people talk about helping Africa, but they're here. They've never been to the continent. So for me, it's like you want to solve the greatest mathematics question in the world, but you've never been near the. It made no sense to me. You can't solve something you have not experienced. So for me, I'm like, if I really want to help Africa, I need to go and get my hands dirty, and I need to know how the other half lives. Because it's so great to watch the news here and be like, oh, poor African. Oh, there's a massive disaster going on in Nigeria. And you will be surprised that disaster is probably in only one small town. But the news magnifies it like the whole country is on shutdown.
Of course.
So for me, I wanted to be part of I wanted to understand the problem so I know how I could come in. So I moved back. I was like, I want to launch a crowdfunding platform. Again, I was naive. I thought money was the problem.
Right.
That, the reason why young Africans are not doing what they need to be doing is because they need money for the business. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a crowdfunding platform that's going to help them raise money to launch their business. I was so wrong. Got there, I found that their number one problem was actually capacity building. So I realized that, that wasn't the problem that I needed to solve. Right. The creative and cultural industry was like a massive industry, and it doesn't rely on natural resources. For example, we rely heavily on crude oil. Like, culture is abundance. Like, you could never run out of culture because it's something that you live on a daily basis. So for me, it's like, forget crude oil, forget the mineral resources and all that. I want to export culture because that's something that we have control over. Yeah,
and it's like you said, it's an abundance. But do you think it's something that is taken for granted
100%.
Back home? A bit like they say how a prophet is not welcome in their hometown, right?
100%. Because when I'm going back to Nigeria, my friends are like, bring me this, bring me that. Things that are nostalgic to them. Whereas when I get back to Nigeria and I'm telling my aunties and uncles, I'm going back to the UK, can you please? They're like,
why do you want that for?
Why do you want that? That's trash. Like, and I'm like, yeah, but my friends want it because they haven't had it in years. Right. So for me, it was more like the culture was so close to us, we don't value the culture. But when non-black people come to the continent, do you see how the
eyes will light up?
Literally. So for me, I've seen that. And then even when people meet you and they're like, oh, you're Nigerian. Oh, I've been to Ghana. And I'm like,
it's not the
Ghana
same
and Nigeria are not the same place.
Same,
so I realized that there was a massive appetite for African culture in the West, but Africa did not even know that.
Right.
So because I'm best of both worlds, I knew how to kind of like merge the interests of the West and pick the best of Africa and then bring it together. Bidhaar. And that's kind of how like the Bidhaar story started. And I also kind of wanted to empower young black people, whether they African American, whether they Caribbean, whether they African, to kind of embrace their culture and learn about it and actually genuinely want to know. Because again, if we don't know, what we're passing on to the next generation. So for me, that was important, and I feel like that was my service to the community. So Bidhaar for me is not a get-rich-quick business. It's a legacy project. It's a
brand.
It's a purpose project. It's an impact project. It's beyond, for me, it's trade, not aid. Like, let's encourage trade. Let's build sustainable economy. Don't keep giving people fish. Teach them how to fish, because if not, they're going to keep coming back to you.
That makes complete sense.
But entrepreneurship as a journey has not been easy, When you're bootstrapping, it's not like I have an investor, I literally, the money I make goes back in there. The money the business makes goes back in there. So it has not been easy.
So let's talk about that.
Yes.
How did you even get started?
Okay.
As in, not the idea behind Bidhaar, but the logistics of opening a beautiful shop in the heart of Peckham.
Yeah.
Which is, being gentrified heavily. It's not the same as what it was 2015, even 10 years ago.
100%. So, moved back from Nigeria in 2017, and I applied for my master's, started my master's, and my master's was basically Bidhaar. It was action-based master's. I moved back to Nigeria at LCF, London College of Fashion. And the reason why I went to LCF was to build that fashion industry network. Right. Because I'm coming from a tech, retail, consulting kind of background. I knew if I'm coming to fashion, I need to come correct.
Yeah.
And I didn't have that in. So I was like,
Sure.
what is the most strategic thing for me to do? Let me become an LCF alumni. And I remember on the first day of my lecture, they were like, so why are you guys here? I'm like, I'm here for networking. Like, that was me. I was here for network. I wasn't here to get, like, for me, it was just a paper. Like, I didn't care about that. It was literally coming in.
It's very strategic, to be fair.
Thank you very much. So working through that problem for me was like, you know what? I'm doing my market research. I'm doing my feasibility study. So my friend was like, oh, so when are you going to launch Bidhaar? I'm like, thinking Shoreditch. She was like, Peckham. I was like, Peckham.
So hold on. Who was like, oh,
my
Peckham?
friend, I said, oh, Peckham.
Okay.
Like, I was very snobbish to
you
Peckham.
wanted to come to Shoreditch.
Because I haven't been here for 2 years, right? So coming back from Nigeria, the Peckham that I remember is like,
weave, balls flowing, oh my gosh, expression hair.
Yeah,
like tumbleweeds.
Literally, like stereotyping gang culture. You
want to do your hair?
Like, I had all these stereotypes about Peckham, like gang culture. Literally, like, who creates a luxury premium brand in Peckham? Like, I'm like, maybe Brixton. She was like, no, Peckham. I was like, okay. So she lives in Peckham, and then she was like, I'm going to take you on the tour of the new Peckham. I said, what's this new Peckham that you're talking about?
May I ask if she was a black lady?
Yeah, my friend Abby, the one that does the pop-off mix.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, cool. So she took you on a tour of the new Peckham.
Of the new Peckham. I was like, what? I was so shocked.
What shocked you the most?
I just didn't imagine. I think I came in, and then we went to the back of the store in Bossy Building.
Oh, yeah,
and like the graffiti, I thought I was in Shoreditch.
Yeah.
So there was like, you come on Rye Lane and it looks like Lagos.
Yeah.
And then you go to the side roads and it looks like Shoreditch.
Yeah.
For me, I was like, there's
the
something.
juxtaposition is like, whoa. But that's actually how, Shoreditch was once upon a time, or everywhere was, and before
exactly
it gets a bit more diversified.
Exactly. So then I looked around, then we actually saw this building there and it was under construction. And I was like, oh, this is nice. She was like, but, they're taking up new tenants and stuff like that. Well, I was like, they've got no ground floor. So who opens a business in a building where there's no ground floor? So we just kind of ignored it. And then a year later, there was an advert on Instagram while my other friend was scrolling. And then she forwarded it to me. She was like, Mariam, like, try your luck. You never know. So I wrote a proposal. But I didn't just write a written proposal. I created a visual proposal because Bidhaar for me was already. I needed to like show them the kind of brands, the kind of like interior decor I was thinking about, the creation process and everything. So I created a visual proposal as well and I've also done pop-ups. Testing the Bidhaar idea.
Oh, so you've already done pop-ups before?
I've done like sleeping shops in my home, in my friends' houses. I've done pop-ups in Shoreditch. Like, I've just been testing if there's a market for this product. So I had all this evidence to show in my proposal. So called me in for a meeting and they were like, oh, I've been shortlisted.
And how did that feel like?
It didn't feel real. But listen, when I got shortlisted, I didn't even have money for the deposit. I'm going to tell you.
I love it. I love it.
And then I remember when I told my brother that, oh yeah, I got offered the store in Peckham. It was like, so how are you going to pay for it? And my brother...
He asked you how you're going to pay for it?
Yeah, I was like, I'm not asking you for money.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you that
good news.
Bidhaar's opening.
Yeah.
So it was like, you're not listening to me. How are you going to pay for it? I said, the money will come. And I got designers to pay for a concept that they never saw.
Wow.
Like, it was just a concept. Like, there was no visual anything for them to be able to gauge. And they bought into it. They bought into the story. They bought into what I was trying to do. The landlord obviously bought into it and believed in it. That's why they gave us a space in the first place. I couldn't obviously quit my job that I got just after I finished my master's. I was like, I'm going to do Bidhaar full time. So I wasn't working. Bidhaar became a full-time thing for me.
Wow. So
I didn't have money to even pay for anything. So I was like, the business needs to pay for itself.
Yeah.
So the first test of money that I used to sort everything out was literally from the designers paying
to be in the store.
Wow.
So that is a lot of courage.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you. Yeah.
I honestly think,
Yeah.
and I might be wrong, but
Yeah.
you moving back to Nigeria probably helps to fuel that mad passion, because I'll be honest with you, like, okay, I can relate to being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But at the level at which you've done it,
Yeah.
I just have to commend it, honestly.
Thank you.
Enough respect.
Thank you.
Now, if we think about Bidhaar now, right,
Yeah.
it's not just a retail space.
No.
You also have had events.
It's also a showroom. It's also an agency. We also have a private label as well. Working on Lagos store, working on another London store. Like, it's a lifestyle brand. It's beyond just retail. It's a brand incubator for Black and African creatives.
Right.
So it's beyond me, you know. It's not about me, you know. If I'm away for 16 hours, I'm probably working on Bidhaar for 15 hours of that 16
And okay, let's be real.
Yeah.
Is that how you want it to be, though? Do you want there to be more balance with business?
100%. Like, I would love to switch off and not be so engrossed in Bidhaar. However, I know that I need to make some of these because, you know, thinking about it, looking back a year from where I was, some of the things I used to have to do, I now employ people to do it.
Brilliant. So you've made progress.
Massive progress.
Absolutely.
Like, I used to have to do social myself. I used to have to do graphics myself.
Social yourself.
I have to.
That in itself is a full-time
Literally,
job.
I'm the accountant. I'm the events curator.
Yeah.
I'm the operations director. Like, I don't have to do all that anymore. Like, I've got a content writer. I've got editors. You know, we've got a showroom manager. Like, we've got a visual design, a visual art director full-time. So you just sometimes have to make that sacrifice at the beginning, but then eventually, like, it's been a year. Like, everyone's like, they think Bidhaar's like 3 years old.
It feels like it's been going longer than it has.
I know.
Because you've done so much.
Thank you.
Like, so much. Like I said, we had our event there back in January, but you've had many, right?
Yes.
What sort of events can people expect at Bidhaar?
From like open mic night to, you know, art exhibition, book signing, children's book club. We had the launch of a Black dating app, Berry.
Yes, Berry.
Yeah. We've had like, so I can't even think.
Yeah, you've had
food
many.
events, press nights,
party. Because I mean,
see, this is the thing, right? People see Bidhaar as just a vibe.
It is. You go there, honestly. I've been there with my daughter, and she was literally running around. One of the staff looked after her for a piece.
Yeah,
I'm checking out all the stuff.
Literally,
you don't want to leave.
No, so it's like a home. You know, it's a vibe. Like, we can't do events since we came out of lockdown. After we had the press night, we can't do normal event, because if we create an event and we like 10 people should come, 50 people will show up.
Right.
Because it's Bidhaar.
50 people want to be there.
And I can't get sued. Like, who's paid the 10,000 grand fine for, like, so for me, it's like no events until we come out of lockdown. Just because it's a vibe. You know, the tribe really buys into it. So, yeah, 100%.
So, in terms of the future of Bidhaar, I know you've touched on maybe opening another store in London and Nigeria. Yeah. I think I'm most excited about the Lagos store, only because I'm very Pan-African, and I think being in somewhere like Lagos will enable me to do that. Sure. I can build the brand authentically without any bureaucracy of like licensing for performances, for alcohol, for this, for that. Licensing seems to come up quite a bit on this show, to be honest.
I can't deal.
It's quite stifling.
It's very, very stifling. And when you're a startup with no experience about stuff like this, it's like, where do I even start? You know? And it's like, it also costs money. Yeah,
like legal aid and legal support.
Like, I remember, like, I looked at my lease agreement that I signed with the landlord. If I'm getting another store, I would never have signed that kind of lease agreement, because some of the things I found that was in there, I was just, how the hell did I sign this? You know? So whereas being in Africa gives you like that creative freedom to just build a brand authentically without any bureaucracy. whereas London has a lot of bureaucracy. But now that I know better, opening a second store will be much easier. And for me, opening the store in like New York, in Paris, in like Japan, like I already know the strategic places that I want Bidhaar to be. So for example, if we open a Bidhaar store in Shoreditch, it wouldn't be the same as Peckham.
Right.
Because the vibe is different.
Yeah.
So if we open a central London one, it will be more high-end brands because it's a different clientele. So the area we go will depend on the kind of store we open, but we are an experiential brand. Experience is the core of what we do, from education to entertainment, escapism, aesthetics, bringing in tech as well, augmented reality, virtual reality is something that I'm really excited to explore. Like imagine being in London and then you're able to visit a designer studio in Lagos through like a VR headset.
Amazing.
So those are the kind of collaborations
that sounds sick. I'm sold.
Yeah.
Take me.
So 100%. So for me, even during lockdown as well, so a lot of these ideas were coming to me as well. People couldn't travel, right? Tourism is a big thing. You don't have to think about Google Maps.
Yeah, it's true.
You couldn't explore the streets of Lagos without actually going to Lagos. We can push, for me, bringing Wakanda to life is the whole point of Bidhaar, right? Like, you don't have to actually physically go to Africa for you to immerse yourself in the African experience, blended with an urban edge,
No, it makes sense. I always use Chinatown as a reference because you go down to Chinatown and you literally could be
in China.
100%
authentically so.
Yeah.
So for me, that's definitely what Bidhaar represents. Like the little Africa, the little Nigeria, the little Lagos, the little Jamaica,
the little salon.
Do you know what I mean? So
Jamaica.
Yeah. So that's
Gambia,
the essence of.
I love it.
Yeah, it's quite exciting.
Naturally, I just want to invite everyone to head down to Bidhaar as soon as lockdown's over, but also first of all, guess the website.
Yes, please.
Other than itsblackowned.com.
Bidhaar, so www.bidhaar.com, which is BIDHAAR.com. So yeah.
And on the high street, is it
133A?
That's it.
Rye Lane. So it's literally like less than 2 minutes from the train station, and literally when you come on Rye Lane, the zebra crossing just after the bridge literally takes you straight into the store. The building is called Market, and it's just a really cool spot to be at.
As soon as Bojo and these people then let us know that we're allowed out again, we'll be heading down there. And lastly, I just want to finish on what does Bidhaar mean?
Bidhaar means merchandise, goods or products in Swahili, and it actually kind of emerged because I wanted to be like your go-to pop culture merch brand for African creatives. So for example, I want you to come on like Bidhaar and be able to buy like Wizkid's merch, and again thinking about how artists can diversify their income. So it was meant to be a merchandise brand, but then it just evolved into it being a retail and a lifestyle brand.
And the rest is history.
And then the rest is we're just getting started, guys. We're just getting started.
Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.